in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act.
Yes, Mr. President, this meeting was properly posted, set for today at 12 p.m. It was posted on April 26, 2019 at 5 p.m.
Just for the record, Aaron, it's 12:01. All right, we'll go straight into number 3, consider election of officers.
I would like to nominate Mike Miguel Farias as the Vice President.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Farias.
Thank you.
Number
Do
4.
we need to, since he's Secretary Treasurer, need to
Okay.
nominate
He's
Secretary
got both.
Treasurer?
He's got both of them.
He's got both opportunities? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But for the record, Mr. President, that's to fulfill the term, the existing term, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay, number 4. Consider approval of Board of Directors minutes for the February 25th, 2019 board meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Number 5, presentation by Mr. Tony Juarez with Cascos and Associates, PC of the EDC Corporation Annual Financial Audit for the fiscal year 2017-2018. Mr. Trevino.
Yes, Mr. President, Mr. Juarez is not here, but we have in our presence our former Cameron County Judge and former Secretary of State, Carlos Cascos, good friend of mine. I think he has our audit ready for presentation.
All right.
Mr. President, members of the board, good afternoon. My name is Carlos Cascos. I am with Cascos and Associates, your independent auditors. And first of all, I want to thank Mr. Trevino and, of course, Nelda for helping us and assisting us during this audit. We were scheduled originally last week. We couldn't finish it. We were going to do a draft today, but we worked late with Nelda and with Joey last night trying to get this report out to you. The EDC earned an unqualified opinion. For those of y'all that may or may not know what an unqualified opinion, I was presenting an audit report several years ago to a newly, to a city council up the valley. We are up the valley, and there was a new commissioner, and I gave my presentation about the entity earned an unqualified opinion, and it tried to explain what that was, and the city commissioner asked me, well, you know, I don't know about that. And so, Commissioner, what do you mean? So, well, what is it that we have to do to get a qualified opinion? And a qualified opinion is not good. A qualified opinion means that your financial statements are not stated fairly for a number of reasons. And I said, well, you don't want that. In the accounting profession, un means good. So un is a good thing. Again, once again, we did not give you this unqualified opinion. The EDC earned the unqualified opinion. So I'm proud to say that y'all came out clean in terms of the financial records. For those of y'all that have never experienced going through an audit, the way it basically works is an accounting firm comes in and audits basically the balance sheet. That's what we normally do. That's the balance sheet. Then we test revenues and expenditures using either statistical formulas and even testing transactions. For the city of Edinburgh, the EDC, you generate hundreds and hundreds of transactions every month. So it'd be impractical for an auditing firm to come in and audit every transaction. So we randomly select transactions. And what I've been calling that as of late is we perform a forensic audit of that specific transaction. Because it starts from the beginning, whether it's through a requisition or a purchase order, followed by the invoice, delivery of services, payment, and ultimately posting to your accounting record. So we do that. Nothing came to our attention during our testing that required us to comment to you or even mention it in the financials based on our testing. So based on our testing that we did, the EDC came out clean. We found no exceptions in terms of any of the transactions that we tested. There were no exceptions to your internal controls. So all that is reported as unmodified and clean. And we'll take you to the balance sheet where you have an unrestricted fund balance of over $7 million. That is very, very healthy. It's a very healthy fund balance. Probably some of the healthier ones that I've seen, in South Texas. So I commend you for that, and I encourage you to continue maintaining that high level of unrestricted. Now, for those of y'all that are in business, unrestricted, really, it equates to retained earnings. So that number reflects on the differences between your assets and liabilities. So that is the net worth, for if you want to use a private sector terminology, that is really the net worth of the EDC. So basically, that really concludes my presentation. If there's any questions, hopefully I can answer them with you, and if not, Mr. Trevino and Nelda are here to answer those questions.
Gentlemen, questions, comments?
No.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
No action, right? Just a presentation. We'll go into number 6, another no action item. Presentation of quarterly financial.
I do want to say something, Mr. Chair. We have David Diaz in the back. David Diaz, did you catch Mr. Cascos' quote? I quoted it here. We also have it on the record. One of the healthiest fund balances in all of South Texas. Because I know you're going to write positive things for us, Mr. Diaz. We appreciate that.
Number 6, presentation of quarterly financial reports by Mr. Chris Villarreal.
Hello, everyone. My report is going to be a little bit more dissecting as opposed to what the auditor just said about the fiscal year ending 2018. I'm going to dive right in. The last time I was here was 3 months ago. We talked about the first quarter, and now we're going to talk about the first 6 months of the fiscal year 2019. The first report I'm going to talk about is the statement of cash receipts, disbursements, and cash balance. Basically about the unrestricted cash account, and we're going to show the change of the unrestricted cash account from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. So the report that you see here dissects month by month by month, and if you slide over to the very right, you'll see a year-to-date actual. And the year-to-date actual represents from October 1 through March 31st. So year-to-date, the very top row, you're going to see the half-cent sales tax revenue. For the first 6 months of the year, we collected $3 million. And so we had budgeted $5.3 million. So to the right of that, you'll see percentage to date, and you'll see that we are at 57%. So we had budgeted $5.3 million, and so I believe that we're kind of, doing a pretty good job as far as meeting our goals. The next one is the lease payments, $107,000. We had budgeted $91,000 as well there, so we're kind of doing pretty good there as well. The next one is note receivables collections. That's going to be the Santana note, as you'll see that we haven't collected yet for the first 6 months there. And then we received some transfers of money from the debt service account to pay for some debt service, and we have a net change of that of $1 million. So total cash receipts, we collected $4.2 million. We budgeted for 6.7, and so we're at 63% of goal. Now, as far as cash disbursements, personnel expenses, we have spent $215,000, and we budgeted $480,000. So for the first 6 months, we're at 45%, and so we are below 50%, which is good. When we're talking about expenditures, we want to kind of be either at or below budget. Operating expense, total operating expense for the first 6 months are $42,857, and we are at 33% there, so we have another good barometer there as well. Maintenance expense, $13,562, and we're at 53% there. Marketing expense, we have spent for the first 6 months $93,192, and we're at 31% there as well. The next page over, contractual services, year to date, $173,000 we spent, and we are at 30%. Developmental expenditures, we're at year to date of $305,000, and we're at 18% there. Capital outlay, we spent $8,390, and we're at 2%. EEDC properties, this is property taxes and debt service. So we have spent $2.2 million, $2.2 $2,283,000 there, and we're at 85%. So basically, you're gonna see a lot of the principal portion and interest on the debt service that we've already spent in February. So when the next 6 months come around, we're just gonna spend money on interest, okay? So for this first 6 months, we have a net increase in cash in the unrestricted account of $1,099,975. We started out with a year of $2,128,000, and now our unrestricted cash on January 31st is at $3,220,397. Any questions about the change in the unrestricted cash account? Okay. In the next couple of pages, and again, you know, Carlos Costas talked about the audit of the balance sheet, and we have our own balance sheet as of March 31st, and you'll see that we have total assets of $29 million, and we have, most of that's going to be in the note receivables and fixed assets. But a lot of what we focus on with our report is cash, and you'll see your total cash being $6,982,669, almost $7 million. And that kind of equates to like the net, the retained earnings or the net worth that Carlos Costa was talking about. Next page over is going to be the liabilities and equity. Total liabilities to $17 million. And so we have a total fund balance of $11,291,000 there. The next page over is going to be our accounts receivable aging summary schedule. And this is what our tenants owe us and what Santana owes us as well. And this kind of ties back to the page I just talked about before on the balance sheet. So we have outstanding earned revenues of $859,000 that needs to be collected. And it'll be a breakdown of who owes us. And you'll see the very bottom, Santana Textiles is a major player in that one. Next page is going to be the accounts payable aging summary, and this is who we owe as of March 31st, 2019. We have $76,000 outstanding that we owe, and a large part of that's going to be the City of Edinburgh, American Express, and for disclosure, I have mine in there too for $1,018. And that right there is the report for from October through March 31st, 2019. Any questions about the statement of operations?
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Go ahead, sir.
Sir, just for the record and making sure that everybody follows, could you just name what the 76,000 that's owed? Could you kind of just read out those items for us, just for the record?
On the accounts payable
The aging summary?
for the City of Edinburgh?
Yes.
I believe the City of Edinburgh is for payroll? Nelda?
Yes.
Yes.
Payroll?
Yes, that was accrued as of March 31st.
Okay. You said something about American Express?
American Express, there's a bill there for $21,000. And for the details of that,
On the American Express, Mayor,
Yeah.
when we took our trip to Austin,
Okay.
we charged everything, but we already got reimbursed from the Chamber of Commerce and for the city. So we do have reimbursements on that.
Okay, just so that everybody
sir.
knows that travel is being reimbursed.
Yes.
Okay.
And if I may, just for the record, just for clarification purposes,
okay.
I see here that Santana Textiles owe close to $500,000, and that's over past 90 days.
Yes.
But as a total, they owe $750,000.
Yes, they owe us $758,000 as of March 31st, and that includes interest and principal. And so they're late in that regard.
But yet, we are keeping our payments and obligations and
Yes,
and paying
amongst
those-
other vendors. And
okay, so we're not behind as an EDC.
we're not behind, and as a matter of fact, as I mentioned earlier, we're still positive. We have a net increase in cash from October to March 31st. So this piece of the puzzle right here, and if we go back to our budgeted revenues year to date, you know, we've collected $4.2 million, and if you look at our year-to-date revenue side in total, compared to the annual budget, we're at 63%. Okay, so that hasn't put a major dent into us as far as our operating cash.
That just shows, how stable and how healthy
Yes.
we are, even in the fact that We have $859,000 of uncollected
Yes,
payments that are due to us, but yet we still stand strong.
correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Number 7, discuss and consider approval of budget transfers to the EDC fiscal year 2018-2019 budget. Mr. Trevino?
Yes, sir, Mr. President, members of the board. Attached, you'll find the EDC budget for fiscal year 2018-19 with the recommended changes for the estimated expenses. This is a transfer to the budget for the revenue account and reserves used for the debt service for the arena shortfall bond, which is a restricted bank account budget from the arena bond shortfall commitment in the amount of $1,463,027. This amount includes the $1,073,752 that was previously approved back in January by this board. The additional shortfall amount to be transferred to the bond trustee is $389,275. This is the transfer to the debt service, to the arena bond shortage. It will be exactly $389,275 that we need to have transferred on this account. When we did the original budget amendment back in January, the city had calculated the amount of that they were going to pay, and they notified us of what our shortfall would be. But I think there was some, once the city had talked about, and I'll let them explain how that came about, how that was calculated, the trustee had contacted us and said we were still short. So I have the city manager here and the city finance director to discuss how we've come to this point and how we're going to mediate this in the future, because it's important for our next bond that we're getting in for the 2019 bonds, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Good afternoon. This is Dago Soto, Finance Director for the City of Edinburgh. Yes, what Mr. Trevino's referring to is when we calculated what the city was going to transfer to the arena bond payment, and to calculate what EDC's shortfall was, we took into account some cash on hand that the trustee had, which is basically that difference that we're referring to. Our initial understanding was that additional cash on hand will be applied for this year's payment. So when the trustee kind of assessed this, they realized that cash on hand is not necessarily for this year's payment. It's just to redeem the bond in general. So those funds couldn't be used for this year's payment. So when we got that clarification, this is when we got back with the EDC and they realized they have to make up that difference.
Mr. President, may I ask some questions?
Go ahead, Mr. Farias.
Cash in hand, explain to me what that means.
Yes, so with the trustee, there's all these bank accounts. So when by cash on hand, that's how much they had. Okay, so the trustee receives the money to make this bond payment. They said that they had this money on their side. So we took that into account to be applied towards the payment. So we wanted to transfer everything minus, so we basically transfer everything minus what money they already had. So, but when they saw our analysis, they said, okay, this cash on hand that you're taking into account for this payment, it won't be applied to that payment. It will just be towards the overall bond, not necessarily a debt service payment. And our analysis took into account that it will be towards the payment itself.
So where is that cash in hand now, and what can it be used for?
So the only thing it could be used for, the best example I could do is, let's say we owed $1 million, right? And they have 200,000. So what they say is, at this point you owe $1 million, but this extra cash on hand will be used to reduce the overall balance. So you have an overall balance of 800,000, but your payments are still the same until you pay it off. You'll just pay it off sooner because that cash on hand is going to overall reduce the remaining note. But it cannot be used for an annual debt service payment. So that was the discrepancy on the original amendment done back in January. Any other questions?
Any more questions, gentlemen? All right, go ahead and entertain a motion. This is an action item.
Motion approved?
Second.
You have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Number 8, discuss and consider approving a resolution to approve new bank accounts with the EDC Depository at Plains Capital Bank regarding the new Series 2019 Bond Issuance Debt Service Fund and Construction Fund accounts.
Mr. President, members of the board, with the upcoming new series 2019 bond issuance coming May 9th, we need to set up this fund in the bank that we're recommending on Plains National. We have existing accounts there, and we would like the board to approve this.
Mr. President, if I may ask questions, how many accounts are we looking at?
Nelda? Two?
We have our operating account and our debt revenue and debt service account, so a total of 3, but 2 related to previous bond issuances.
Okay, I was about to say, you mentioned 2, and
Right.
then it comes out to 3. Okay, so what is the third one about?
The third, well, the construction fund account and the debt service account that we're proposing to open as new accounts will be for the new bond series, 2019. And so we have to have them as separate accounts. One, the construction fund account is where the bond monies will be deposited into at closing, and the debt service account will be dedicated, so each month we'll be transferring 1/6 and 1/12 of debt principal and interest for those bond payments in the future.
And who exactly is going to have access to these accounts or authority to sign off or transfer checks and stuff of that nature?
At this point, because of previous board action, Joey and myself are both signers on the account, but it's whoever the board assigns.
Okay, I just want clarity on that because we're talking about a lot of money and there's going to be a lot of things going on. You got 3 different accounts. I just want to make sure that we follow all the steps and follow our own guidelines when it comes to distributing this money and for the different things that we're going to be doing. They're great projects and everything. I just want to make sure we have proper oversight that it go to what it's supposed to go to. And if there's any kind of change orders or anything of that nature, it definitely needs to come before us before we can approve anything on that, because it is a lot of money and it's our taxpayers' money that we're using here. So I just want to make sure on that. So Joey, would you, I guess you'll be setting that up as far as
Yes, sir.
who will be distributing, who would be signers,
Well, once
stuff of that
the
nature?
projects are, ready to be bid out and construction account,
Okay.
we will, with the architects and the engineers, that will be responsible for overlooking all the invoicing and making recommendations to me, and then we'll bring them to the board.
Very good, thank you.
Stay up there, Nelda, for the next one.
Motion to approve Plains Capital Bank as a depository.
Second.
You have a motion and a second on number 8. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Number 9, discuss and consider approving a resolution to approve new account with Techstar regarding the new Series 2019 Bond Issuance Reserve Fund.
Yes, with regard to the new series bond insurance, this is another account, the debt reserve fund account must be open prior to funding. We have provided information by Hilltop Securities regarding the Techstar investment pool in which the debt reserve fund account can be established that will accrue daily interest and paid out on a monthly basis. The interest rate of this, as of the close of business on Thursday, April 25th, was 2.4175. The average rate of the month of March 2019 was 2.41. The average rate is net 0.06 management fee, which is based on a per-share rata basis on the EEDC portion of the investment. The government pool invests in the following government-backed securities: treasuries backed by the U.S. government and U.S. Treasury, agencies backed by the U.S. government agency, and Fannie Mae, such as Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and Ginnie Mae, and the repurchase agreement, short-term borrowing between the banks. So if you have any other questions on that, would recommend approval of this new account with Techstar.
Any questions?
No questions. Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Number
for it. I was a little late.
unanimous. Number 10, discuss and consider approval of a sponsorship for the Edinburgh Chamber of Commerce Texas Cookum event.
Yes, Mr. President, Ronnie Loraldi from Director of Chamber of Commerce here to make the presentations on the Texas Cookum event.
Good afternoon, Board, Mayor. My name is Ronnie Laralde. I'm the Executive Director of the Edinburgh Chamber of Commerce. I also have our new Director of Marketing and Special Events, Deanna Garza, that's here with me today. Of course, you can already feel the summer heating up, but Texas Cookum High Stakes in Edinburgh is just around the corner, and it's on July 6th. Texas Cookum has been part of the City of Edinburgh since 2006. It's a great event. Competitors battle on the grill to cook the best chicken, ribs, brisket, and ribeye for money and a year's worth of bragging rights. Texas Cookum is the Valley's biggest barbecue purse, awarding $30,000 to the winners. It's also the first and only IBCA SCA sanctioned state cook-off in South Texas. Texas Cookum has also incorporated a kids cook-off to help continue our South Texas traditions of barbecue. It also helps promote City of Edinburgh and bring tourism to our city from all over the state. It helps generate sales tax revenue, is a big boost to our local economy during the weekend. Our hotel and motels fill up with cook participants, and we also have local meat markets sell out from their products for the competition. It's a great quality of life event for the community, and it brings everyone together to enjoy a big 4th of July event right here in our own backyard for free. So, of course, we've had great partnerships with the Edinburgh Economic Development Corporation and the City of Edinburgh. Without your partnerships, this quality of life event is not possible. And just to give you some stats on Cookum, you know, since the beginning, we had 55 teams attend. Last year, we had over 110 teams attend. 25% coming from Edinburgh, and the rest coming from the RGV, and including actually 31% from the Valley. We had a total attendance of 4328 last year. And we've had teams come across from Colorado, from Tampico, Mexico, Kansas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Minnesota, and of course, you know, our Kids Queue is a big event for our kids here in the local community. With that said, I would like to play a video so you can get a great clip and understanding of what Texas Cookum is about here in Edinburgh.
Come and cook this event because of the competition that's here. We've just gotten so immersed in this competition barbecue, and events like this bring out the best cooks in Texas, or in the nation for that matter.
The total payout is over $30,000. It's one of the biggest events in the state. There's a lot of really good cooks here.
2013, we had a high state walk. It was probably the most highlight experience that I've had. I got reserve grand champion here, got beat out by a small amount of points per gram. The best come here in any slot in that area, especially in the top 10 here, you're gonna earn it.
One of the big draws has always been the steak. We've had the world champions come cook this event. We have a lot of great steak cookers from all over the state of Texas that are here this weekend, trying to be the guy that beats everybody out. It's a big allure because it's a big money event and the prestige that goes with it. In addition to that, the guy that wins the steak cook-off is also going to be an automatic into the World Steak Championship later this year.
If you think you've got the best barbecue, if you're in the cul-de-sac or in your neighborhood, hey, come out and try it, man. It's competition barbecue. You never know, on any given Saturday, anybody can win. And this event gives you a great opportunity to come and showcase what you got against some of the best cooks in the nation.
If you're looking for a good place to go have some fun, if you like to cook competitively, and if you don't mind a little bit of heat, this is the place to be right in the middle of July.
So if you've never cooked this event, you want to cook against the best, you know, this is the place to be.
Of course, we have a lot of stuff going on at the event as well. We have, kiddie rides. We have a fun zone area for the kids. We have the great fireworks. Have some remarks said that they were better than our sister city down the road. But it's a great event. And it's family fun on a fantastic weekend. And we appreciate your continued support, and we look to continue our partnerships for this year's event as well.
It is a great event, Ronnie. We go out there, the whole family, and we're out there all day, man. We're all starving looking at this video, but
It is
but
noon.
the Pat Green concert last year was awesome. We're big fans, and we got out there and enjoyed it. So good luck to you all
Thank
this
you.
year, and
Appreciate
we look
it.
forward to another great event.
And Mr. President, if I may,
Yes, sir.
It's not, I really don't appreciate you coming over here and showing us all this really delicious food when we have sandwiches in the back waiting for us. And I'm just looking at that going, my God, that looks so good. And I was there, and it was really good. And it just seems to get bigger and bigger, and more competition coming in. So it's great all the way around. Great all the way.
Thank you.
Very successful.
We'll make sure to bring barbecue for the next lunch, for your next meeting.
When you bring the t-shirts.
Mr. Chair, I need to make a statement. For the record, I am a part of the Chamber of Commerce Board, so I will be abstaining from any action on this item.
Yes, sir. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve the request for 20,000.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
Thank
Good
you.
luck, Ronnie.
We'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. Number 11, discuss and consider authorizing the executive director to enter into an MOU between the Doctors Hospital at Renaissance, Health Service Institute at Renaissance, and the EDC for the Patient Care Technician Certificate Program.
Mr. President, members of the board, staff has been working to establish this collaboration with DHR to provide a training program for certification opportunities. Through these efforts, DHR has proposed to partner with the EEDC to contribute the certificate program training necessary to upskill current certified nursing assistants to primary care techs. This type of certificate program would allow current employees to expand their skills and salary, and it would allow for the hiring of employees to fill their slots left vacant. The participation of this program will cost approximately $48,290. With us today, I have Dr. Rebecca Lynch. She's a coordinator out there, a vice president of curriculum for DHR, and she has a little presentation for us to consider this program.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Thank you so much for inviting DHR to be a part of this process. HSIR, the Health Sciences Institute at Renaissance, was born out of the bigger prospect of DHR getting involved in education on a bigger level besides just medical school. So we're doing allied health training. And I included in your packet lots of information about the programs that we have been approved through the Texas Workforce Commission, career schools and colleges to offer. One of those is the Patient Care Tech program, and I also brought Dr. Melinda Rodriguez with me as well, who will be involved in teaching within that program. This is an opportunity for the residents of Edinburgh, city of Edinburgh, to allow certain individuals who were pre-selected as a CNA to upscale their skills, because a patient care tech does more than just a CNA would at this point in time. We're involved with a lot of phlebotomy skills, a lot of direct patient care, kind of those second eyes to the nurse, and we want to be able to provide those opportunities, and thought this would be a great avenue to collaborate with the City of Edinburgh to pilot this, if this is successful, which I know it will be, and then to increase those numbers as time goes on. So I appreciate the time. Any questions that you might have of me?
I want to make a comment. I just want to, we appreciate the partnership that we have with you all. You are one of our largest private employers, you know, not talking about the school district or the county or the city, but we really appreciate all the work that you do. We'll be over there tomorrow. Briefly, we're actually double booked for a couple of events, but we will be there to support you all. The big announcement tomorrow at 10 a.m.
For the trauma, thank you.
And I've gotten a lot of invites and a lot of action going on, but we just appreciate the relationship that we have with you all. And you are a world-class team and a championship team, and we really appreciate this program that we're putting together, showing that DHR and the City of Edinburgh are working together.
Thank you so much.
Mr. President, if I may just ask, the difference from the CNA to the tech, what are we looking at as far as the opportunity for these people to, as far as revenue and income?
In terms of a direct salary, roughly our patient care techs on entry level will probably make about $15 an hour, which is well above some CNAs that they get presently at this point in time.
Excellent.
So that's definitely a significant increase.
Yes, ma'am.
If somebody wants to upscale, retrain, so that is a good wage.
Excellent. Good, good. So it's just better their income and still be in the same line of work except a
Yes, and
different level.
you can work in a variety of places. We can work in the outpatient clinics, it can be within the hospital, in a variety of settings this individual can work in, yes.
So in essence, a lot more opportunities.
Absolutely, absolutely,
Very
sir.
good, very good. Good program.
Thank you. I did want to make one correction, and I did put this in your packet with the MOU. There was an error on the original date, so I put a corrected MOU in there. That should read a 32-week program offered beginning of September 2019 through May 2020. There was an error in the month and the year.
We'll make those changes.
Just real quick, I just want to comment that all this help, just for the record, all this help that we're giving is directly going back to Edinburgh residents that
Yes.
are in this program.
Yes.
So we're helping our citizens.
Yes, we
in
will do a
turn.
selection process with the help of Mr. Trevino, Mr. Balderas, to make sure that those are selected Edinburgh residents as the pilot. Yes, sir.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
One last question, Mr. Trevino. Where is this going to be housed or held?
They'll have the training at the DHR.
We will take care of all the education, both the classroom instruction, laboratory instruction, and actual clinical instruction at DHR.
Is something eventually that we can move to one of our buildings over
Once
here?
we get the new building come in,
Yes.
we can have some programs out there. Yes, sir.
Some
We would love to be there,
some room
sure.
for growth, and since you mentioned those timelines, they don't match with ours, so I'm glad you're housing them.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, appreciate your time.
Go ahead and entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Number 12, Mr. Trevino, your report.
Mr. President, members of the board, some exciting news to start off with. Thank you for, approving this, but this is something else we're going to be, getting here pretty quick here. I just received a letter from Workforce Solutions. It says this letter is to inform you on Thursday, April 25th, 2019, Workforce Solutions received notification from Texas Workforce Commission that the High Demand Job Training Grant Program application for a total project cost of $185,221 has been approved, is in the process. The project objective is to serve 53 participants by providing high-demand occupational training in the efforts to equip a skilled workforce to meet the continued needs of the local employers. Participants will receive a training in one of the following demand occupations: certified nursing assistants coupled with phlebotomy, certification training, customer service, biomedical equipment maintenance, and cybersecurity training. So we're working on get that announcement done as soon as this is over, and then I've talked to our commissioner for Workforce Commission, and he's going to come down and bring a big check for us, and we'll have a program for that.
Excellent. Awesome.
That's awesome news, Joey, and I do want to add that he is a gentleman that you've been very close to prior to you being involved here with the EDC. That is a major contact. I know that you and the commissioner were we're not gonna hold against you, but your old-time football buddies from the Harlingen Cardinal days. But those dividends did pay off on the constant trips over to go see them.
Yes, sir.
And I want to openly thank you on a job well done on this $185,221. It goes a long way, and we appreciate the effort, Joey. You were after it. You were adamant, you were persistent, and you were consistent, and we thank you for that.
Appreciate that, Mayor, and I also owe a lot of gratitude to my staff, Michael Valderas, and then Workforce Solutions. They also worked on this grant, and of course, the support from the Board of Directors. I'm very appreciative of all this. I think we're working, I think it's very important that we get our citizens trained and certified and working here. Our unemployment numbers show it, and I think it's a good thing for us and the whole community. I wanted to go ahead and go through some of our April stats. Of course, sales tax is up again. We went from April 2018, 1.7 million, to April 2019 to 2.1 million, 23.26% increase.
21.2%?
23.26.
23, I was on, 23.2% increase.
Increase from last year. Our unemployment rate had gone from last year, March of 2018, 4.7%, to this year, 4.2%. Doing well. Our residential commercial building permits, March of 2018 was 9,478,000. This year, 23,591,000 in residential and commercial.
Hold on. That's over 100%.
Good. Yes, definitely. I double-checked those numbers.
Yeah, I
Yes,
just wanted to ask,
I did
are you sure?
double-check this one.
That's more than the fingers you got in your hand. I want to make sure you.
I double-checked.
You got it?
that.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
sir.
That's why the motto, Juan, is something good is happening here.
Other than that, we have a scheduled ICSCs coming up in May 1822. We got the itineraries for you gentlemen when you're ready. And then in June, we'll have the Washington, D.C. trip, and of course, the Denver trip.
Those are great stats to take to up there and promote our area, and numbers speak volumes. So
Yes, sir. That's definitely been possible. Staff has been working diligently on our handouts that we're going to be taking up there. It's a good document that we'll be able to give out. We're setting up meetings as we speak right now, so I think it's going to be a successful trip. Other than that, that's it for Director's report right now, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Joey. Entertain a motion to go into executive.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. We'll go into executive session. The time is 12:44.
And have steak.
At this time, the EDC Board will convene into executive session in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, exceptions to the requirements that meetings be open, to deliberate under the following sections: 551.071, consultation with attorney; 551.072, deliberations regarding real property; 551.074, personnel matters; and 551.087, deliberations regarding economic development negotiations. After executive session, the board will reconvene, and consider taking appropriate action on executive session items.